The voices mixed together and rushed into Chase's ears. It was filled with confusion, shock, jealousy, and desire. Like the others, he was drawn into the luminosity of the pearl, unable to look away. Then it suddenly dawned on him that it was too bright, too unnatural. Its luminosity was otherworldly. Any good collector knows a fake when they see one. He tried his best to hold back his urge to chuckle, until he was no longer able to. He burst out in laughter. Chase's laughter was drowned out by the crowd's discussion of the luminescent pearl, but Celia heard him quite clearly. "What are you laughing at?" she asked in surprise. "Nothing," he said. "I just think that the color is too unnatural to be real." He did his best to stifle his laughter. She was quick to understand his insinuation. "You think it's a fake?" she asked. She then thought about it. Grandma had lived many years and owned much jewelry. If it was a fake, she likely knew. Though, of course, there was always the possibility that in her old age she wasn't as discerning as she once was. "Maybe Grandma knows but doesn't want to embarrass Harry," she said to him. "You heard her earlier. This is supposed to be a party where everyone is happy." Matt, who was standing close to both of them, couldn't help but overhear their conversation. He intervened on Harry's behalf. "What do you know about jewelry?" he asked Chase snidely. He was silent. Matt asked again. "What are you saying? It sounds to me like you either think that Monica and Harry are too stupid to notice it's a fake, or that he's fooling us. Which one is it?" Celia did her best to catch Chase's eye. She wanted to signal to him to stand down. This wasn't the time for another fight. But he wasn't looking for a fight. In fact, the only reason he'd even stepped up to Harry earlier was because he insulted Celia. He didn't care what anyone said about him. Matt continued to mock him. "Cat got your tongue?" he asked. "I can understand why you don't know about jewelry. Neither you nor your wife know the first thing about taste and class." The last part he said a little too loudly, and everyone spun in their direction to see all of the commotion was about. Gregory narrowed his eyes. Of course, Chase was involved. Matt was the first to speak. He pointed at Chase and said, "He thinks that either Harry is trying to pull a fast one on Monica, or that either of them is too foolish to know that the pearl is a fake." There was an audible gasp from the crowd. Gregory's eyes turned dark and foreboding. Meanwhile, Harry was a strange combination of amused and angry. His laughs rang out like suppressed cries of rage. He couldn't believe that Chase was accusing his gift of being a worthless fake. "What are you getting at, Chase?" he said. "Are you just trying to spoil this day for Grandma? Are you punishing me for earlier?" The more he spoke, the angrier he got. He was also trying to fight back the feeling that maybe he'd been duped by the antique dealer. Gregory stepped in and said, "Enough. Chase, don't push this. If it wasn't for my wife, I would have handled things very differently in the garden earlier. Do you understand?" Chase let out a cold laugh. He was not surprised at the reaction. He understood that as Howard's son, Harry had a big reputation to live up to within the family. More so than he did. He was an outsider. "Don't worry about it," he said. "It was just a feeling I had. Probably nothing." He didn't want to bother explaining anymore. Gregory was nonplussed with his explanation. "That's it?" he said. "You wanted to destroy Harry and ruin this party on a feeling? What is wrong with you, boy?" Chase didn't want to get into an argument, so he turned to leave. "How dare you walk away from me as I'm speaking?" bellowed Gregory. "You came to this party today, contributed nothing, ate our food, insulted our family, and now you're leaving? What an ungrateful—" Harry, too, was growing increasingly irate. Through gritted teeth, he said, "Why don't you come look at it then? If you're so special, let us know your wise opinion on the matter." Chase's face grew dark as he walked over to Harry and the pearl. As he did so, The rest of the crowd began to take bets on the outcome. Is he crazy? He didn't know what's good for him. No way, that's a fake. I don't know. Think about it. How much does Harry really know about pearls? I bet Chase knows a fake. That's the only way he can afford to buy something. Chase was on his last nerve. Part of why he'd left his family all those years ago was because he was sick of the endless competition. Sick of people gossiping about status, wealth, and power. He really didn't want to ruin everyone's mood, but he knew there would always be people who looked down on others. He was now beside Harry and could see the purple pearl in all of its glory. It was shining brightly in the darkness of the room. Could we turn on the lights? He asked. He wanted to see the unnatural aspects of the pearl themselves. As the lights relit the room, the gossipy crowd turned silent. All eyes were on Chase and the pearl. The resplendent night pearl that had once been glowing a beautiful purple faded away. It almost appeared as if the pearl had self-destructed. For a moment, the entire venue was dead silent. Gregory's expression in particular was especially venomous. The room once again exploded into discussion. What does that mean? Is this really fake? The pearl isn't glowing anymore. It's a night pearl. It must be real. Was he right? Suddenly, everyone was looking at Chase with astonishment in their eyes. While they originally not believed him, it was beginning to seem as if he had been right all along. Harry was in disbelief. How could this pearl that he had spent so much money on be a fake? Now that you've seen it yourself, what do you say? Chase asked him. His face was completely red. He gritted his teeth and said, So what if it's a fake? At the very least, it shows I was willing to spend real money on Grandma's gift. What about you? What could you possibly afford to gift her? Chase didn't answer. Harry pressed the situation. Don't put this on me, he said. Why don't you show us your present? Let's all take a look. My night pearl may be fake, but I'd wager it's still 100 times better than your gift. At this moment, everyone was staring at Chase. Harry was right. Even if his gift was fake, they were sure that his intention, and even the gift itself, was better than anything Chase could afford to give. He shook his head helplessly when he saw everyone's mocking gazes. He was about to take out his gift when Patricia immediately stood up and said, What do you think you're doing? Don't you dare embarrass us any more than you already have. She knew that what Chase had brought was nothing more than a broken pipe. It would be absolutely disastrous if we were to gift it.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.